Welcome back to another Mythbusters! This is a very special episode of Mythbusters, as this is the start of Season 1, with the introduction of Mr. Fantastic and Invisible Woman. And with the introduction of these two fantastic characters, as well as a few balance changes, what better than to do Fantastic Four Mythbusters? Starting with the first one, Captain America can deflect Invisible Woman's vortex. Invisible Woman's vortex is very good at grounding flyers and doing very quick damage, sucking and pulling the enemy every which way. And with the proper positioning, you can heal and damage the enemy at the same time. We know Captain America's vibranium shield can deflect a lot, but there are also some things he just can't deflect. But Invisible Woman's vortex is one of them, turning into a friendly projectile that you can use to damage her. You can use Captain America's shield to find the Invisible Woman. Now, as a Captain America man myself, this is automatically true. However, you have to actually know the general direction of where the Invisible Woman is, and you can't just throw it out assuming it's gonna actually hit her. And it's not easy, as she's able to double jump in any direction after her initial jump, making her that much harder to track. But otherwise, myth confirmed. Can two invisible women see each other? In the last episode, we tested to see if two invisible Lokis can see each other, which was not the case. Even testing with all the invisibilities in the game like Loki, Psylocke, and the Invisible Woman, neither of those three could see each other. But can two invisible women see each other at the same time? Sadly, this is not the case either, with both of you guys still remaining invisible even though you guys are colliding right into each other. Can Spidey's spider senses detect an invisible woman? Matter of fact, can it detect any of the invisible people in the game? As one of Spider-Man's most important abilities is his spider sense, giving him an alert of danger and events that have even yet to come. For the spider sense to work, the enemy would need to be out of your field of view, with a spherical range of 8 meters, and the enemy has 3 seconds to get out of this radius, else the spider sense will go off. And if you didn't know, Spider-Man's head actually tilts in the direction of the enemy that alerted the spider sense. So that's a quick tip. However, even with this ability, Spider-Man can still not detect invisible enemies, which I feel like is a crime. Spider-Man should be able to detect these invisible enemies, with his head still tilting in the direction of where they might be, giving Spider-Man a little bit more of an edge against these invisible enemies. This makes me think that it would be even cooler if Daredevil was added and he could have a visual aid to see these audible footsteps. But regardless, myth busted. Can Invisible Woman's force physics cancel Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Magic Dash? Although incredibly hard to predict against Black Panther and Magic, but if you already have the ability preset, yes, you can cancel the dash mechanic for Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Magic. But even if you don't, you can still push them back after they've already closed the gap. Although this isn't the case with Magic, as when Magic connects on her dash, it launches you up in the air, making the force physics harder to land as she kind of just phases through it. You can block Iron Man's ultimate with Mr. Fantastic. Okay, I know you guys have all seen the trailer and played the game, but I'm not talking about his big boy chest flexing ability. I'm talking about his shield up ability. But essentially, you can block Iron Man's ultimate completely by shielding up towards him. And to actually perform this myth, you would be sacrificing yourself to save your team. But even then, it's not even consistent. So there's actually no reason for you to actually do this almost ever. And because of its inconsistencies and the fact that you can actually just block it with another one of your abilities, but I suppose myth confirmed. This is not a myth, but while we're on Mr. Fantastic, check out what happens when two Mr. Fantastics grab each other. Now it's only right that we have 3. And honestly, I would love to have an even bigger chain with up to 12 people, but sadly, I don't have enough friends. So if anyone watching would love to participate in one of my future videos, and I even have some skits in the framework, join my Discord, or more importantly, just hop into the streams, where I stream every weekend. Can Namor's turrets hit Invisible Woman? No, they can't. They can't hit any invisible targets. Same with her and any teammate that's inside of her ultimate, unless the squids are inside of the ultimate. Can you speed through Invisible Woman's ultimate? Invisible Woman's ultimate slows anyone who passes through it. However, with a speed boost, can you circumvent this? From what we tested in-game, it matches exactly what was said on the website, slowing enemies down by 55%, but only for 1 second. So regardless, it's worth it. Mr. Fantastic can phase through shields. Now I do know with Doctor Strange, melee attacks like Iron Fist and Captain America can phase through his shields, but no, his melee attacks only damage the shields. However, when in his inflated state, he does phase through shields, damaging the enemy. This works on both Doctor Strange and Magneto, but it does not work on Groot walls, Gamma shields, or even Captain America's shield, funnily enough. But wait, in season 1, there's actually one more shield. Invisible Woman's. Next myth, you can get extra mileage from Mr. Fantastic's grab, pulling the enemy farther than the maximum 10 meters. Now, I was actually already testing this and I found out I could not do it. But it didn't matter because even if I jumped backwards, stepped backwards, looked down, or spin around, I couldn't get the enemy past the 10 meters. Now, I know I've seen other people say, oh, you can get them to come farther if you just turn around to the right. And while that is true, you can still do the same thing with the left, and that only really works when you're below 10 meters to get them to that 10-meter mark. So either way, you can't get past 10 meters. So although you are pulling them farther than you would have being below 10 meters, you're not pulling them any farther than you would have if you were just farther away. Quick tip, your grab has more range than your melee. Next myth, Penny's mines can't detect Invisible Woman. This is another pretty fluky myth. On the surface, yeah, it looks like Invisible Woman doesn't get affected by Penny's mines, but that's not the case. Invisible Woman's only unaffected by the spider mines from the nest. She also isn't slowed down by these webs, but Penny's manually placed mines can detect Invisible Woman. So honestly, best to stay away. Does Invisible Woman's ultimate C9 the objective? If you don't know what a C9 is, it's basically pulling a Cloud 9, which essentially means does her ultimate sell your team from playing the objective. We already know that a cloaked Invisible Woman does not capture the objective, and her ultimate is not a C9. It still counts as you being on the point. Can Squirrel Girl Stampede find an Invisible Woman? We know Cap Shield can ricochet and hit her, but can Squirrel Girl Stampede? With the introduction of Invisible Woman and Mr. Fantastic, there's also been balance changes to the existing heroes. Specifically Squirrel Girl Stampede, which now has a homing feature. After the first bounce, it closes in on the nearest enemy. So to make sure this test was completely accurate, I positioned Invisible Woman to be the first one to get hit. However, because she's invisible, the squirrel should not detect her, instead going on to the next nearest enemy, which is one of the bots. However, after many attempts at different angles and distances, the squirrels always came to the nearest enemy that was the Invisible Woman. So cloaking yourself will not keep you safe from the stampede. Let's run through some strange myths, like the fact that Mr. Fantastic can't melee through Doctor Strange's portal. He can use his E and shield up, he can also use his ult and fly right through, but he just can't melee through it. It seems to be a weird collision thing happening, but when in his inflated state, his attacks go through with no problem. Of course, Sue Storm's attacks go in cleanly, but also her force physics, being able to suck enemies in, kidnapping them. This could have some really cool applications. Using a gamma shield on an Invisible Woman reveals her position. I actually didn't even think of this, but yeah, it does. Shields like Magneto's, Hulk's, and even some healing like Adam Warlock's can reveal the position of Invisible Woman. Although very situational, I doubt it can get you killed. Punisher's ult cancels Invisible Woman's. Sadly, it does not, due to the fact that the missiles cannot home in on her ultimate. However, when inside, he has no problem. And when it comes to her ultimate, all the strong ones counter her pretty good, like Moon Knight, Scarlet Witch, Namor, and Iron Man. And even an uncharged Magneto. And you know what? I'm gonna do it, just because I know there's gonna be one comment that says it. Can Invisible Woman push Jeff while he's underground? I don't know why, but this actually seems logical to me. But yeah, no, it doesn't work. Although, would be cool if it did. You know what else would be pretty cool? If you watch this video right here. And don't forget, subscribe, do all the things in the description, and I'll see you in another one. And as always, be mighty.